was a significant impact in the beginning, I'll say. I mean, like when once we because it was a total surprise because nobody was prepared for such a strict lockdown in the beginning. So and it happened right in the end of March, which was not even only the month end; it was actually the year end as well. So a lot of
Okay.
things which we do at the year end for for sales, for marketing, a lot of year end targets used to be there. But I mean, we got no time to work on those things. So a significant impact on the last year's numbers as well. And
Okay.
obviously for April, I think everyone had similar numbers. I mean, like all were at zero for sales. I mean, like there was a joke being circulated in the social media. Every sector. I mean, like in our sector, everyone's like, "Oh, my sales for this month is as good as what Maruti is doing, or as good as what Honda is doing." For the first quarter, we are not even looking at year-on-year basis. If we look at, I don't think we'll even do 50%. Because the first month is zero. Second month, you even if you do 60%, and third month you do 80%. So you do about
Okay.
140 out of 300. So that's about not even. So I don't think anyone is going to do more than 50% for the first quarter. Impact with respect to a lot of job losses will happen in this sector because automotive OEMs will not be able to recover as quickly as the other sectors might be able to because a lot of there might be some recovery at the entry level vehicles where people might want to move away from shared mobility to individual mobility. So a lot of entry level variants of motorcycles where people were earlier traveling by buses or by metro would now prefer to use their own scooter or motorcycle, and this will definitely give you a increased demand in the aftermarket. But for OEM, I don't know if these people will have the paying capacity to actually buy a new vehicle if they don't have one. So that becomes a
Okay.
challenge here. If there is availability of loans, if there is availability of some disposable income, the first thing people would like to buy is some would be a private mode of of commuting, so that they're away from all these viruses. We've been trying to delay it as far as we could, but
Hmm.
at certain levels we are I mean like there's definitely a lot of pressure on us to not to hold on to as many people as we can. So we what we've done is we've done more of a little bit of salary cuts. And for us, like being a manufacturing company, the challenge is not, at this point of time at the lower level, it is
Hmm.
difficult to get the manpower right now. Challenge is, we even if we're trying to get the manpower back, so people are scared to cross the borders because they have to go into quarantine. So the,
Right.
the
Right.
migrant labor who's gone back. So every time they come back to the state, and they have to get into a quarantine for 7 days or 14 days, depending on where they're coming from. And the bigger worry for them is, they might pick something up there,
Okay.
and then the landlords, because most of these workers, they don't really have their own places. They live on rent, and the landlords are not very comfortable on letting people from other states coming in. So it's a
Right.
massive problem to get the manpower right now. The tire industry, the OEMC, any tire industry, by and large, 40% of the demand for and would come from the OEM side, and depending on all, that's pretty much for the entire industry. So you could be a shade lighter or darker. You could be either 35% OE and 65% aftermarket or something similar. So by and large, 40% is the industry average, which comes from the OEM side. So the
Right.
OEM side is looked at. My assumption is about 50% reduction in volumes for this year, and in like overall industry. If you look at all the sectors, because commercial is going to be hit significantly, then
Right.
so if you average it out, so it's going to be a 50% reduction in consumption of the tires in the OEM side. So
Right.
so what happens is like your requirement demand has shrunk by about on an average about 50% of 40%. That becomes 20% of overall. So 20% demand
Right.
has gone down. So you have idle capacity available, and with this idle capacity, people will try and push more and more material into the aftermarket. So that's where
Okay.
the competition will increase. Okay, that is pretty much for sure. That like people are trying to look at things how to do it in a way where like the contact is as low as we can have. And now I think it will another month's time we'll be having a better clarity on, is it a demand side supply problem or a supply side problem? Because either we'll have less manpower available to manufacture the demand, to cater to the demand what is coming, or we'll have a lot of job losses where people are not able to find jobs. So
Right.
this will swing which way you can't really say right now, depending on how the numbers come for the COVID, and how the government responds to it. It all depends on that which way we swing this way. Already have initiated some activities in the plant, where
Okay.
because we first thing we decided once we went into such a situation was there's no capex this year.
Mm-hmm.
Then we realized that if we're not doing capex and we're not automating, then our cost of production is something which is we would not be able to control, and
Right.
then we'll be a lot dependent on the manpower again what we were earlier. So we
Right.
decided, okay, wherever we can replace man by a machine, or
Right.
we can not exactly replace man by machine, where we can improve the man's output by adding
Right.
some machines or by adding some automation, we will absolutely
Right.
do that. So we is like, what the government needs to do is a lot of reforms. I mean, like on respect to creation of demand. So as of now, what is happening is, I mean, uh, there's a uncertainty, a huge uncertainty on whether we'll be able to uh, hire so many people if needed, or whether we'll be able to have so much demand that we need so many people. So to it, there's a lot of uncertainty to it, like
Right.
and we will be out of this situation in probably a month's time, that we'll have an understanding, okay, the demand is back, now we have to really focus on getting the people back, or the other way around, we don't have demands, how do we control our cost? We are still figuring out. I mean, like a lot of things have started going digital now. So earlier, I mean, like we were in a practice of visiting customers, visiting their, I mean, like premises and discussing business opportunities with them. And now I don't. First thing is, I mean, like we are not even sure if we'll be allowed to go there because of the border restrictions.
Right.
Second is, I mean, like, is my team safe if they're traveling?
Right.
And third, is the customer okay with it? That's a big question. A lot of customers have clearly sent out mails saying, I can't name them, that, don't visit our premises until unless we approve you off. So earlier, any vendor would visit an OEM and just say and discuss or something on supply issues or quality issues or whatever. But now they've
Right.
clearly sent mails, until unless we ask you to come here, don't come here. We'll discuss it online. I mean, like filtration being a core product. I mean, like, we are into filters since 1964. So
Right.
that was a core product what we did, and I think you've already covered us in Auto Expo as well when we launched the face mask.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, so that time I think we did not expect such a huge demand for the face mask. So we had a very small capacity installed for the face mask, but
Okay.
there's a huge demand that has come up. So we are currently doing around 40,000 masks a day. The best thing to do at this point of time is to stay lean as you
Yeah.
can. I mean,
Right.
that's the bottom line, because the more lean you are, the more fit you are, you can get through a lot of difficult times. With the core business of filtration going up with the mask. So we personally, I mean, SteelBird would be doing a much better than a lot of other tire companies, because with respect to comparison on a year-on-year basis, because we have another product which could support to the drop in sales, and so
Right.
our this year hopefully should be not very bad compared to the previous year, and so industry overall, yes, there'll be a demand shrinkage of at least 40%. What we've done so far is we made sure we're trying to keep our team as safe as we can. So
Yeah.
for that, 80% of our people, probably more now, 80% of people are working from home. So they're not showing up in the office anymore. So
Right.
only where we don't have a choice of giving them a work from home is where we are actually asking them to show up.
Right.
So it's pretty much manufacturing where you have to run a machine and be there personally to to do your job. Is
Right.
where we are. I mean, asking people to come. Rest, everyone is working from home, including me. I mean, everyone is working from home, right from I mean, like from sales guys to purchasing teams to everybody. So everyone is working from home. That's one thing we've made sure that try to keep our people home as much as we can.
right,
Then in the plant, we have proper social distancing in place. We have a proper disinfection system where everyone is once they're entering. There's a temperature check. There's a mask is a mandatory thing for getting inside the plant. They've Other than the mask, we've also given shields,
right,
and so a lot of personal protection has been provided, sanitizing the entire premises of all the plants. So that all has been taken care of. Beyond that, what we are planning now is for the mask, what we manufacturing, whatever profits we make out of the mask business, we will donate some of it to the Prime Minister's Relief Fund.